Joining me on the line right now, he is a man well-traveled, very well-known throughout the independent wrestling universe. It is Gran Akuma. Akuma, how are you doing, man?
I am very well up to my ears in wrestling, so I'm a happy guy.
Absolutely. It is a pretty exciting time to be a wrestling fan. Obviously, just a ton of stuff is going on, and I think that's where that's where we can start. Obviously, we're doing a series here on PWP talking up to the debut of the Tier 1 Wrestling A New Hope going on July 10th in New York. And, with everything going on, you got Samoa Joe, you got Kevin Owens on NXT, you have Ring of Honor and TNA on Destination America. It's a pretty big outlet. Having been in professional wrestling as long as you have, we keep seeing people out there saying, "Oh, this is maybe not necessarily a quote unquote new boom period in the sense of as it was with WB and WCW, but it seems like just following you on Twitter that you kind of agree that this is a great time to be a fan with all the content that's available."
Oh, it's an incredible time. It's and like people are hesitant to use the word boom because you're never going to see those late '90s numbers again. But wrestling is, like in my opinion, far and away the best it's been in probably 15 years. So, like I don't know if it's quite a boom, but it's definitely picking up.
There's a lot of things that can attribute to that, though. There's the technology and the talent. You've been, like I said, wrestling for quite a while. You've seen a lot of these guys now that a lot of people are being able to just see for the first time. That has to say about the quality of wrestlers coming from the independent scene, right?
Well, yeah, but I think it also like when I first started, one of my trainers was Reckless Youth, and he was part of the WWE's developmental system. And I remember him saying to me, "Developmental exists because the WWE doesn't believe people are being properly trained on the indies." And he said, for the most part, they're right. Over the last 15 years, that's changed, and the WWE is finally kind of acknowledging that change. So you're really suddenly seeing the WWE looking at the independents with very different eyes. And I think that's why this kind of like revolution, for lack of a better term, on the national scene is taking place. And that's, in my opinion, why things are getting so exciting. Wrestling's finally evolving.
When you were training with Reckless Youth, and I know that you talked to myself when I was seeing you under Jerome Cuson, a couple months back when we were kind of hashing this idea of a quote unquote independent wrestling Hall of Fame, like who would go in, and definitely your trainer was one of the top names we brought up. That type of training, and you see how the guys work back then in the WWE and how they work now. Do you just think that they've finally decided, oh, you know what, our style kind of has to evolve to what the wrestling fans want?
Well, I don't think the WWE necessarily changed like to kind of cater to what independent wrestling has become. Like they've kind of met in the middle. Independent wrestling has slowed down considerably in the last 15 years, and everybody's working smarter and everybody's telling like more cohesive stories. Like it's not just the WWE changing to the way that the independents have been doing things for years. The independents have evolved over the last 15 years too. So like both have kind of gotten better and met in the middle, and now it's just in this really great sweet spot in between.
Absolutely. And Jerome, I think he's been saying it for a while that it's like you said, it's not necessarily, and we hate to say it's quote unquote slower, it's smarter wrestling. And with the information that we have now, not that we didn't have it back then, but about the physicality that it takes to be a wrestler, and then what it could happen later on. It is just better, I think, for everyone involved. When it comes to storytelling on the independent scene, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a pretty big rant online from JR's blog talking about what he believed the industry should be, and obviously it's completely subjective. Everyone has their opinion of what professional wrestling, quote unquote, could slash should be. In your eyes, being on the independent scene, how do you think that has done? The more story driven, I guess, wrestling, as opposed to just doing a whole bunch of spots. Not to say that that doesn't still happen, but how have you seen that change, and how has it been better?
Well, I think before everything was just there was like on the independents there was a lot of too much for the sake of too much. There was a lot of things that were just fast for the sake of being fast. Um, it was almost like there was a higher degree of difficulty. So in the minds of wrestlers, that meant it was better. But a lot of times, nothing registered. Things would be too fast, so like the crowd would miss. Like if you did five things in succession, only two of them would register, maybe, or like just the moves didn't have any like weight to them. They didn't have any gravity because you were already up doing the next thing, and that, like nothing had a chance to resonate. So I think It's hard to explain. Like I think we just like it's not so much people are doing less because they were doing too much before, but now they're making everything they do matter.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to explain, to put into words, right? It's kind of like it's trying to explain how someone does the nuances of acting. It's like you can't. You either know when you see it or you just don't, right?
I guess the best way to explain it is people used to try to fit 20 minutes into 10 minutes, and now people just have the best 10 minutes they can do. So rather than doing as much as they can, people are doing as much as they can make matter. So it's not so much that they're like they're counting how many moves they're doing, but they're making everything mean as much as they can. So like the matches are more meaningful. They're still doing the great athletic things they were doing before, but they're composing things in a better manner that they're making the most out of those athletic things they can do.
No, that makes sense. And it kind of falls into line. Like I said, we're here to talk about Tier One with their new debut show coming up, and the guys that they have already announced. When they announced you, I was just really excited. Saying, okay, there's something different. I know you do a lot of stuff with Excellence Pro, and I actually want to talk to you a little bit about that match you had in Beyond, back in April. But guys like Luke Hawx and Tommaso Ciampa, Mike Bailey, yourself were announced. Guys that I think a lot of our listeners would definitely recognize, and we can appreciate that style that you bring. And then it was announced you're going up against. Is this true? It's a first time ever. You have never faced the former Pinky Sanchez ever.
That's I've been having a lot of these lately. Like when I was at Chikara, there's such a thing as the Chikara bubble. Like part of it's self-imposed. A lot of the Chikara guys are just content to only work for Chikara, and part of it is just with Chikara's schedule, it prevents you from like working at other places. But there's an amazing number of matches that, despite being around as long as I have and being in the same region as a lot of people and working in a lot of the same places, I've been having first time ever matches of like where nobody can believe it. I wrestled Lucky recently one on one for the first time. I wrestled Fire Ant, believe it or not, like last year. We had never had a one on one match before. But yeah, Pinky and I have never been in a match together, not even like in a random 8-man tag somewhere. We've never been in the same ring. It's mind blowing.
That is mind blowing, because you would just think, right, out of all the matches that have happened, you'd be like, oh, they've had to cross paths. But I mean, that's what I'm talking about. It's kind of exciting. It's going to be fun for the fans that get to see it live, and of course, get it on VOD and everything. What do you think about some of the other talent guys that they brought on? I was able to talk to Rude Boy Riley recently, and he's maybe not necessarily the most well-known talent, compared to yourself. But when he talks about the other guys, it's an exciting time, like you said, on the independent scene. Guys like Champa and Hawks and Mike Bailey, who is making his name right now, is having a new promotion to kind of not necessarily debut, because it's not. I doubt that there'd be any fans there that don't know who you are. But even if there is that kind of exciting for you to be able to go, okay, I can show this crowd really what I can do in person.
Well, I'm always excited about doing new things, and when a new promotion starts up, especially, but really like any promotion, uh, I don't like there are bookings I turn down now. I don't work everywhere that I have that weekend open. Like I'm a little bit more selective now, and I try to choose my battles accordingly. But when I look at a promotion, I look at the roster. Are there guys I want to be in the ring with, and I look at the positions they put the people in the roster in. Basically, like what kind of matches am I going to get to have here? That's what it's all about for me. Like I'm not a guy that's trying to go to the WWE or wrestle, be under a contract with a national company or anything like that. I got into indie wrestling to be an indie wrestler. Uh, but looking at that roster, it's like a list of guys I want to wrestle. And when they first started putting a card together, putting the matches together, they're like, oh, that's the match I would book too. So I'm familiar with most of the guys on the roster. Like I met Ruth Blair Riley recently at UWA Elite.
Oh, right on.
It's just like I said, it's just a list of guys I want to be in the ring with. I think me and Pinky are gonna have a really good match. Tommaso Ciampa is very high on the list of like people that I haven't been in the ring yet that I want to. Like I said, it's a really, really, really strong roster. It goes to show how deep the indies are right now too, because there's a ton of guys. Last weekend were down in the tryouts. A bunch of people have already been signed, and it's like there's an endless list of talent out there.
There is. I mean, and that's what I think also makes it more exciting, because it allows, and as long as I've been a wrestling fan, that's kind of the excitement of it. You're sad when you see some of the guys go, but then you're also excited to be, because that gives other guys different possibilities. And I think that's always been the excitement of being an indie wrestling fan. Speaking of guys, that you have faced, I haven't gotten to see the show yet, but at Beyond in April, you faced off against Bucks Belmar, Fluffy, and Dave Cole for the Interspecies Wrestling Other title. And Kevin Ford on who writes for our website, obviously he's really excited about those kinds of things. I mean, how was it working for Beyond in that environment?
Uh, Honestly, Beyond is a place I really want to get back to. Like I was saying earlier, I got into indie wrestling to be an indie wrestler. Like Beyond is one of the places I want to make myself a fixture at. Like that's my goal. So I was excited to wrestle at FET. I've heard a lot of really good things about just the atmosphere there, and that definitely lived up to the hype. But I was excited about that match too because that's another match where I had never been in the ring with any of those guys. Which is like I've known Dave Cole since 2003.
I was gonna say,
Like he's been around for a while. When I first started out, he was also starting out. I've wrestled a protege of his, JT Dunn, but I've never
yes,
wrestled him before that night. And like it was like Bucks is a guy that a lot of people focus on the gimmick. When it's time to turn it on, Bucks can go, and I'd really like to go one on one with Bucks. And I had some fun interactions with Dave Cole as well. He's another guy I'd really like to wrestle one on one. So my experience at Beyond is I want more, like across the board.
and hey, that's always good. I mean, yeah, Beyond has really turned it on, in these last few years. Getting to work at FET, I mean, I'm hoping to go get across the country and just witness it for myself. I've been, to some other pretty exciting crowds, and people just say that people at FET, it's you have to be there, right? You can't. I can watch it on VOD, I can watch it on DVD, but it's just different, and it seems like it's a lot of fun.
Oh, it is. And really, I wanted the full Fed experience. Like it was, I was on the first show of a doubleheader. I was in the crowd for the second show. Like I was just amongst the fans. Like I just wanted to take it all in. Like I didn't hang out in the locker room. I was out there taking in the show. So it was a really really good time.
Getting some of Mama Cordero's food, I hope, which
Yeah.
I've heard great things about.
Oh yeah, that lives up to the.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, being an indie wrestler, I mean, like you said, it's an exciting time. There's a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of times, like you said, you get to pick and choose some of the shots that you're doing. Obviously, with Excellence Pro, what is going on, there? Because we post the results up on PWP, and I try to follow this. I guess storylines through the results, but it just kind of seems that right now, you're what is it? You just lost the tag titles recently? Is that correct?
No,
Oh, okay. So what? So what
haven't
happened?
found the champion yet.
Okay, okay.
I've been part of a group with Dan Champion and House of Glory wrestler by the name of Ken Broadway. He's another hot young guy coming up.
Yeah.
Um, but no, actually, I've been on a bit of a losing streak there. So I've been I laid out an open challenge for this upcoming weekend, and it's been answered by Danger Jameson, and I feel really bad for Danger Jameson because this is going to be ugly. Like I've lost quite a few matches at Excellence Pro, and Danger Jameson has made himself the unfortunate target of my wrath.
Hey, that's fun. Okay, and that is my fault. So your team is like team champion. That's probably
Yeah,
what got me kind of tripped
that's
up on that.
probably, yes. They're setting up to crown their first singles champion, but they do not have tag team champions yet.
Gotcha. Okay, well then there you go. And yeah, this guy, you're gonna lay in the wrath. I know that you got to work with guys like I think Amasis. I mean, he's pretty consistent there. And then there's Smiley, who I've heard some things about. But it seems like it's a really fun place. It's not for a lot of our listeners when they read the results, they kind of just have to ask, is this Chikara Light? And I'm like, I try to explain to them that it's not really associated, even though you may see some of the similar talents there. It's not related at all. Correct?
No, they're not connected to Chikara at all. Honestly, originally, like I was brought in to wrestle Icarus, and the interest in the promotion of me is that a lot of it was Chikara guys that I either hadn't wrestled in a while or hadn't wrestled at all, and it was an opportunity to get in the ring with those guys again. But since like I've wrestled Icarus there, I've been in a couple tags with Hollow Wicked, I've wrestled Amasis, and I had a taste of Argus, another
Yes.
young Chikara guy coming up. I think if he's another guy that I think has a great deal of potential. I think if he continues to improve at the rate he is, I think he's going to be one of the guys that at the end of the year people are talking about Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to be part of that conversation. He's a lot of people may not realize now he hasn't had a lot of opportunities, but if he continues to grow like he has, he's going to be another guy I think people are going to be talking about.
Absolutely. I mean, it's always a lot of fun to see guys, just get a different sense of different wrestlers out there. I mean, because that's obviously that's why we cover the independent scene. That's the most fun that we get out of it. So yeah, I mean, Akun, before we get out of it though, any last words you have for El Presidente Carlos Sanchez for July 10th at Tier One Wrestling's debut show in New Hope?
Uh, I hope I get focused, Pinky. Like Pinky, when he wants to, he's Pinky can go. Like I've seen Pinky go toe to toe with guys. But Pinky's Pinky, and
There's no other way to say that.
yeah, if ridiculous out of his mind Pinky shows up, it's gonna get ugly. So um, I hope Pinky brings his A game because I'm I'm looking to make an impact. I'm looking to like I'm still going strong. I'm not planning on going anywhere anytime soon. So I'm looking to kind of cement my spot in this new company.
Well, there you go, Kuma. We appreciate the time. And of course, guys, check it out. We continue to showcase it. Tier 1 Wrestling, A New Hope, July 10th. You can get your tickets. And of course, the link will be provided for in the podcast. Akuma, really appreciate it, man.
Thank you.